beautiful day, the summer of 2010, I had the opportunity to interview two remarkable men, Willard Cochran and John Schnitger. Willard Cochran was agricultural advisor to John F. Kennedy during his campaign for the presidency, and he played an important role, which we'll learn more about, in the USDA and the past of the Economic Research Service. John Schnitger, now referred to as the father of agricultural economic consulting, was also in the USDA at that point in time. He was with the equivalent of the Chief Economist's Office and later served in the early years of ERS's history as the Deputy Secretary of Agriculture.
Father of ERS. While serving as a Director of Agricultural Economics, he developed a vision of ERS as a source of sound, science-based economic information that continues to guide the agency's research. As the first head of the department's staff economist group, Dr. John Schnitger helped Dr. Cochran build the foundation for ERS's role of providing solid, unbiased analytical research to support policy decisions. Agency, the Bureau of Agricultural Economics. Throughout its existence, the BAE acquired a full chorus of critics, including USDA program agencies, farm organizations, and legislators. Representative Jamie Whitten of Mississippi, chairman of the House Appropriations Subcommittee on Agriculture, was a powerful critic in Congress. He played a major role in the demise of the 30-year-old BAE, which was abolished in 1953 amidst political and ideological conflicts. Will Cochran and John Kenneth Galbraith became presidential campaign advisors to Senator John F. Kennedy.
Became his agricultural advisor in the campaign. He was willing to take advice on agriculture, but he himself, I would say, prided himself on not knowing anything about agriculture.
Dr. Cochran and Dr. Galbraith pushed Kennedy throughout the campaign to revive economics in agriculture.
We wrote numerous letters and so forth, but none of them did any good. But during the campaign of '60, Galbraith he was Kennedy's advisor on everything, not just agriculture, but fine art and Indian art and whatnot. Anyway, but I was there on agriculture. All during the campaign, Galbraith and I had poured into Kennedy's ear that the VA should be reestablished. The only thing now we were suggesting we had to give it a different name because we were afraid that Jamie Whitten would cut us off at the pass. So we came up with the name ERS.
After convincing President Kennedy and getting approval from Orville Freeman, the new Secretary of Agriculture, the only person left to confront regarding the creation of ERS was Jamie Whitten.
We had the okay, and then who's going to go tell Jamie Whitten? And since I was the main guy pushing this thing, it was me. So I go up there, and I told him what we'd done, and I told him we were going to create these two agencies, the Statistical Reporting Service and the Economic Research Service, and that they would report to the Director of Economics. And that's when Jamie said to me, I am opposed, or I'm against putting all you economists together. These aren't his exact words, but it's something like this. We won't have anything but trouble if we put all of you economists together, but the president wants it. And what the president wants, the president shall have.
Dr. Cochran borrowed from the BAE and created a division structure strikingly similar to what is in place today. Many of the economists from the BAE were pulled back together from other USDA agencies to form ERS.
With only modest revisions, I was put something back together again, like my experience from the old BAE.
When Will established the ERS, he put it in about 7 divisions. There was the Economic and Statistical Analysis Division, headed by Fred Wall. There was Outlook and Situation, headed by Bushrod Allen. Farm Economics by Hugh Stewart. Market Economics, Ken Ogren. Foreign Economics, Sherman Johnson. Development and Trade, Anderson and Ken Bachman. And then afterwards we put in the Rural Economics Group in 1964.
Dr. Cochran saw the new agency's role as providing a flow of objective and unbiased research to inform agricultural policy decision-making. During a half-century as an honest broker of economic information, ERS has faced significant challenges and made great contributions.
ERS celebrates 50 years. We look back at the remarkable accomplishments of the past and the people who created the ERS we have today. And yet we need to look forward to the future. So much is ahead.
Now was to stay relevant to the emerging problems in an increasingly fast-moving food and agriculture environment, and to be ahead of the problems if at all possible. I think they've handled that pretty well. I can look back in my own mind and see times when the agency and the people there may have lagged a little bit, got behind the curve, and other times when they've been well ahead of the curve. Conflict for an economist but he simply has to make sure that the people he's advising know his official expert economic analysis, and then he separate any political judgment political advice he might want to give from his economic judgment when those occasions arise.
The ERS did a good job as the economic unit for the nation. That was my view, that in creating ERS, it could do what none of the colleges could do. It could take the national view.
Accumulation of data. It's analysis of data and information on the environment, the commodities, the crops, the livestock, and through its publications, it makes a contribution nationally, as Dr. Cochran has said, but it also makes a particular contribution to the universities, to the research economists who are out in the universities, who rely heavily upon ERS data and ERS analysis for the work that they do in the States. Dr. Cochran not only came in as Director of Ag Economics to establish the ERS and the Statistical Reporting Service, but he came in as the principal advocate for the reestablishment of the food stamp program. And that's a point of history I don't want to forget. That Fred Wall's idea, and Will Cochran and some other people too, support within the Office of the Secretary, led President Kennedy to create the pilot food stamp program in 1961 by executive order without ever going to Congress. It became nationwide and is now a grand program taking billions and billions of dollars worth of food to the most needy in the United States.
I'm very proud of ERS. I created it, and I think it did a good job. I really do.